three main ideas. Basically, we just learned how to graph lines, right? You learned two different techniques. You learned to use a table. Let me turn back there in my text with you. You learned how to use a table and just generate 2 points to generate a line. So we said linear functions, they make a line. Okay, so they make lines. Because we know it's a line, it's going to have a consistent slope and all that jazz. All that you need are 2 points to graph any line. So we learned two different techniques last time. We said, you know what, you can pick a random X or Y. So the first thing was just pick your two favorite X's. And find the Y's that go with them. And to find the Y's that went with them, what you would do is use a table, right? So for example, this first way we learned, you had something like, we said, okay, well, I'm going to say Y is equal to 2X plus 7. If that's the equation that you had, you can use a table. Let's pick 0 and 1 for X. We said it doesn't matter what you pick. Lines go forever in two directions. The domain is fine. There's no X values that would make this thing not function. So we pick whatever. I generally choose 0 and 1 just because they're friendly values. To find the corresponding Y's, what we did in our homework is we said, okay, well, in place of X, I'm going to put a 0 in and see what Y is equal to. Let's see, the first Y is equal to 7, right? So 0, 7 is one of the points on this line. Then we plug in the other X value. Y equals 2 times 1 plus 7. That's a 1 in parentheses, it's hard to see. So you get 2 plus 7, 7, 8, 9. Y is equal to 9. So now you have 2 points. And you can use those to graph the line. Let's see, 0, 7. This is Y, this is X. 0 for X, 7 for Y. We'll say that's a 7. First point. 1 for X. 9 for Y. So you're using a steep point that does that, right? Now, without graph paper, these aren't the prettiest pictures. I know that. But right now, we're just learning the process of graphing, and the process really is finding the 2 points and then plotting those 2 points. Now, the second way that we used still dealt with finding 2 points, but we were a little bit more specific about the 2 points. So the second way is we would use the intercepts. Remember, the intercepts are where they cross a line. Specifically, the line being the axis. If I could spell, it would be helpful. So the x-intercept happens when it crosses the x-axis. That happens whenever y is equal to 0. Y has no value, but x is some number, right? We okay? The y-intercept happens when it crosses the y-axis. Y has some number, but x is 0. So you're still getting 2 points. You're just being a little more picky. You're not just saying, hey, 2 random x's, let's find the y's that go with them. You're saying specifically, I want to know when it's crossing these axes. So with the previous example we just looked at, y equals 2x plus 7. If someone had said, hey, graph this using the intercept, what you would have done, x, y, you make x 0 and y 0. and find those 2 points. We already know from up here in the work above that when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 7, right? Okay. So I don't have to do that one again. That's the same process as what I just did. This is 7. As far as the y, though, let's see. To find when y is equal to 0, I'll put 0 in for y in my function, equals 2x plus 7. So then I'll just do algebra to get x by itself. Subtract 7 to both sides. 2x is equal to negative 7. Divide both sides by 2. What's x equal to? Negative 7 halves? Or whatever decimal that gives. Right? Okay. And then you can graph it using those 2 points. So we would say, okay, well, let's see. X is 0 and y is 7. So there's one of our intercepts. This top point, x is 0, y is 7. Is this one called a y-intercept or an x-intercept? Okay, so y-intercept, right? And you can see on the picture, it's where it crosses the y-axis. This one down here, let's see it, at negative 7 halves. So that's a little bit over, it goes in 3.5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 0 for the y. So like right there-ish. Okay, so at that point, we're getting an x-intercept, right? It's crossing the x-axis. Very similar picture to what we had. Maybe a little prettier than what we had up here at the top. But that time, we found the intercepts. That's what we were doing down here in this method. But you still get the same picture. In fact, if you use graph paper, you could have looked at the picture to get off those intercepts. Some of your homework problems did that, didn't they? They give you the picture and say, hey, what's the point where it crosses this intercept? So as you work in the text, it'll have you use the picture to pull off the point. Again, let me label it. This is the y-intercept. This is the x-intercept. Because it's talking about which axis it's crossing.